You are watching the #1 podcast in the whole entire YouTube wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leek.
And together we are Road Break. How's everything on you, family? It is time to talk about another episode of the greatest brand in the WWE for the now, NXT UK. Did we feel that this was one of the greatest episodes? Maybe not. We're gonna give him a pass. We're going to give him like a bye week. It hasn't been the greatest episode, but yet, still better than what like NXT gave us, in this yesterday. So, we're going to be talking about all of this. Thank you so very much for joining us. Let's hear it from the best booker in the business, Jean-Paul Leek. Disappointed? Happy? So,
I mean, this not every episode is going to be like, just filled with the stars. And that's what this was. This episode kind of just lacked the star power. Now, you might be saying, oh, well, we saw Tyler Bate and Dave Mastiff in the opening match. Yeah, you're right. And then after that, there really wasn't nobody. We saw, the debut of, was it Theo Man? Yeah, Theo Man.
Aquaman.
Yeah. Jason Momoa. Yeah, we saw him. No. Well, we saw Theo Man, and it was like, okay, but he was just in a squash match, not setting up any feud, nothing like that. This was just kind of like, like a cool down episode, because next week we're going to hear from Dragunov, we're going to hear from Walter. So next week's kind of like the big episode, just like the week before where we saw Kaylee Ray, Mako Satomura. You have a big week, you got to have a down week, then you have a big week again. So that's all I think this was.
Yes, exactly. So we're going to be talking about everything. But first, Paul, fill me in with we have, it seems like in AEW, we have a new horseman. Are you enjoying this? MJF finally kicked himself out, or like he got kicked out of the Inner Circle, and now he forms his own version of the Horseman.
Yeah, this is really good. I like this. The only thing, just kind of like looking at it now, go check out all my, in-depth thoughts and reviews of this, but are in the review. But just I'm thinking, is there too many guys in this group? Because it's like, okay, FTR is the tag team, Wardlow's the muscle, MJF is the leader. What's Tully? Just kind of like the old school guy, and then Sean Spears is the jobber. But
is it Sean Spears or is it Eminem?
Yeah, I can't tell you. Would the real Slim Shady please stand up?
And Sean Spears shows up. Or Peyton,
but I mean, this is great though. And Ray Phoenix and Matt Jackson, legit match and everything. So go, check. And to me, the best match of the night was Scorpio Sky and Darby Allin. So go watch the review. If you can, somehow find Dynamite, on the Shady websites, go back and watch this episode because it was a great episode of Dynamite.
Or also like Penta talking Spanish, Cody.
Mm-hmm.
Cody, please watch Penta. I love Cerro Miedo. He's legit. So let's go to NXT, the NXT side, like a lot of information, NXT TakeOver, 2-day thing, stand up and delivery. We got like tag team championships introduced. Somebody win it, then they lose it. Now we have brand new tag team champions. On top of that, 2 more championship matches. Io Shirai with Toni Storm, Finn Balor, and also Adam Cole. You saw he won because he still holds the championship. But then it's Tik Tok for Balor, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, this is good. I wish this was going to be at WrestleMania. It's not. It'll be at the 2-day event, TakeOver. What's the TakeOver called?
Stand and Deliver.
Stand and Deliver. And see, that's the thing. NXT hasn't been doing that lately. So I want to see if they can do that at TakeOver or if this name is just going to be blowing smoke up our ass. But we'll have to just wait and see.
Well, thank you for supporting us, family. Thank you for the subscription, comments. And Jean-Paul said there was no star power, but yeah, there was. Well, I mean, Jack Starz was there, but we're going to talk about that in the main event.
There you go.
We're going to talk about that in the main event, but we started out with, Heritage Cups rules, Dave Mastiff, the bummer, like they call it, against Tyler Bate. And let's hear it from Paul. I mean, the one thing, again, I always, it's easy for me to just skip the first round because nothing happens. Yeah. Everything of the action starts on round 2. So, why is there even round 1 needed? So that's the kind of thing that I would like, that, they do something different for me to actually pay attention a little more when it comes to the round first. The first round there.
Oh, yeah. And, the first round, they always just do it. That's been the story so far. Like you said, it would be nice to see something a little different. The first round's always just, the feeling out process. Okay, we're going to do Yeah, exactly. 69 me, Don. Okay, no. Not Kenny Omega, not Don Callis, having their fun times. But, this is just like the test of strength. Okay, both guys seem pretty even, which you would think at the start of this match, even both guys being fresh, you would think Dave Mastiff would kind of have the advantage. But then going into the second round, boom, no, Tyler Bate, actually kind of, takes the advantage there. He looks good, and, he scores the first pinfall.
Yep,
and then it's like, and it's like, okay, you're kind of thinking, well, what the hell's going on? And then in the third round, he's kind of cocky, more like toying with Mastiff because he is a pinup. So, you know, he's like, oh, okay, I can be a little reckless. I can be a little loose. And then Mastiff, you know, kind of fires back, you know, he's just like, oh, okay, you know, you think you have this in the bag? No, you don't. He hit like a huge crucifix, like, you know, roll up. You know, but it's just like really slammed him because Tyler Bate almost picked him up for kind of like a Samoan drop or something. But then he, you know, Mastiff used the airplane
spin. Yeah, he was trying to look for that, and then he countered into like the crucifix, like you said, but really slamming it into like the mat, and that's why like he got like the one-on-one he pinned, you know. And so far, well, you wanted Mastiff to win, or like you're like, oh, Tyler Bate is
I wanted Mastiff to win because Tyler Bate, you know, commentary was really getting him over as a face. And all, you know, oh yeah, you know, oh he's legit, blah blah blah, this and that. You know, the boop and bop or whatever the hell his like punches are called. You know, they're still like, oh, he's still legit. And I wanted him to lose here because I want to see him have that little bit more like seriousness, that edge, kind of like, but as a heel. Because I want them to turn Tyler Bate heel. I want to see how that would go. I don't think that's going to happen, at least not yet, at least, you know, from what we saw here. So, you know, now things are tied, and, you know, the next match, you know, Mastiff, you know, beating him up. And I hate the spot where, like, Tyler Bate was taken out on the outside, and then it's like, you know, 7, 8, and he, like, no-sells it. He's, like, barely moving. Yeah, he's, like, barely moving at the 8. Barely moving at 9, and then all of a sudden he just has like he's like Sonic the Hedgehog, and he just flies into the ring, and it's like, okay, you know what I mean? Like I'd rather see somebody like slowly crawl in the ring, and then you know Mastiff is right there to attack him.
Is like the Zensubin, like
yeah, exactly. But in you know, and Mastiff just watches him just crawl into the ring. Like you see the guy slide in the ring at the 9 count, meet him there before he can even get to his feet and be stomping on him. You know, do something. But you know, it's. I just don't like that spot when they barely make it back in the ring because nobody believes it.
To do the airplane spin, you know, that was a great comeback, and then he gets like that one of those Pele kicks that he does, and then he went for like he did like he goes like the Phoenix splash, or like, you know, he was like a whole like tornado splash from the top rope, and then he pinned him. You know, that's what it was, and he won the match. So you see, like I don't like you said, like when it comes to like Dave Mastiff, like he's really huge. He has great performances, but he always is on the losing end of everything. So, like, I will wish that, like, they will give him some kind of momentum.
And that's what I mean. He lost to Jordan Devlin, and then I was like, okay, that sucks, but Jordan Devlin's a champ, so, I understand it. And then I was like, oh, well, he's not going to lose here. And then he lost here, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. Tyler Bate's, like, your star. That's, like, you know, your Roman Reigns, your Daniel Bryan of the time. You know what I mean? It's like that's who your franchise player is. But like Dave Mastiff, to me, can also be a franchise player. So you keep having him lose, you know, especially when he's losing to guys who are twice his size. I mean, I'm like, or half his size or a third of his size. It's like, really? It don't look good for him. But both guys are babyface. They showed the sign of respect at the end, like, hey, you know, tough fought match. So, you know, I do like the Heritage Cup rules, but I wish, like, let's mix it up. Let's see, like, you know, a big decisive pin in the first round or something like that. Really shake it up, make it different.
Saying it, you know, first round is always boring. Like, it needs to just be like something where somebody scores the pin right away. Why? Because then again, I can pay attention, because it's like every single time, the first round, I can still be on my phone, maybe getting some notes, getting some pictures for the family, stuff like that. So like you said, but Tyler Bate gets the win. Hopefully we'll see. He needs to start like going into for some kind of contention. Maybe a kid one more time, maybe Walter, something that it makes him look more, you know, important in the show. So let's go to like Flash Morgan Webster, Mark Andrews. They're going to have a match against Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan. You know, right there, like you see, like Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan, like they're having some dissension between each other, because sometimes Kenny likes to use some heelish tactics, and Amir is more like baby face. We got to do everything clean. We got to do everything according to the road break rules and all of that. So, you know, they're both excited and ready to like get this match, will catapult them into like maybe, you know, tag team title contention. So that was okay. We'll see that. So tell me a little bit about Eva Valkyrie, Paul. You know, like, hey, you still see those promos, like still fighting with herself. You know, not fighting with anybody but herself.
Yeah, I like this promo a lot, because she's just like, you used to be the one who always supported me and pushed me. Now you're my biggest fear, my biggest enemy, all this stuff. And it's like, you know, if you're not really paying attention, you're like, who the hell is she talking to? But then obviously, you know, Rope Break is legit. And it's like, no, she's looking in a mirror. So, and, you know, they even said that last week. It's like, oh, is she doubting herself? You know, this and that, because, you know, she's undefeated. She's legit, all this stuff. But, you know, people are getting title opportunities before her. She seems like she's kind of getting forgotten. But is that really NXT UK's fault, or is it her own fault because she is lacking confidence for some reason? Obviously, you know, it's all storyline, whatever. Yeah, I think it's because they don't want to give her the title right away. I don't think they don't want to be like Roman Reigns, Charlotte Flair, and just push her right to the, right.
They had like, what can we push this out?
No, they want to slowly build this, and this is good. And also, anytime you make somebody have a character, it's like, oh, you have this dad, whatever, any kind of like character development story like that, I think always adds, to the wrestler. So I'm fine with this. I like this promo. But, with Meiko Satomura losing, Piper Niven losing 1,000 times, I think it's really being set. I think it's really being set up for Valkyrie.
It's been, even before COVID, but they have to do it now because this promos, like you said, it's okay that they have character, but again, it's like, really, can you just like go get your title? Like, okay, can you fight against somebody else rather than yourself? Because it makes me sound like you have your depression and things like that like I shouldn't be thinking when I'm watching my wrestling show.
Well, that's why they should maybe do like a battle royal or and have her win it, because then she can be like, oh, I eliminate, or not eliminated, but like I outlasted, I don't know how many women they have. Maybe they do a 20 women battle royal. Oh, I outlasted 19 other women. I'm legit, blah, blah, blah. I can do this. And then boom, now she believes in herself, wins the title, everybody's happy.
And then exactly. So now let's go to like new people, like you said, that they put up Theo Man. Like as wrestler quality, pretty decent. I think like he was like said that like has a Turkish descent. He actually beat already Timothy Thatcher, but who hasn't? Rubric already did it. So like in Ecuador, where I'm from, and like Jean Paul, we did it here in Kutztown, in the backyard. So he goes against like Danny Jones, and also it was said that like Theo Man also beat Fabian Agner. Also, so like you see like he's got a few wins under his belt, really important. Danny Jones had like a jobber performance. Maybe in a few months, maybe in the future he'll have like some pushes, but then the whole thing was for Theo Man to actually be the guy that will get the win. Like really stiff. I like that at least. A lot of intensity, a lot of power, and strength when he comes to hitting the punches and all of that. A lot of like double stumps onto Danny Jones, and towards the end, just the crossface, signifying Chris Benoit. And, lately Io Shirai, lately Adam Cole, and lately everybody else that just wants to use the crossface. Because, all of a sudden Chris Benoit is relevant. He, let's be legit. Let's honor his memory. So let's do the crossface. So, Paul, like, do you like Theo Man? Like, look at the smile of Paul. Look at the smile of Theo Man. Same smile.
Yeah, right? I like him. I thought the match went a little bit too long. It should have been boom, 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 get this stuff over quick, especially with the video package they showed from this guy. It seemed like he was, no nonsense, no bullshit. He was intense. Like you said, I had no money, no friends, none of this. He's going to prove himself. So, kick the shit out of this Danny Jones and, under a minute or two, lock in the crossface, really wrench it back. Like, you and I had said off, camera, he like locked it, barely had this thing locked in. You see in the picture and the guy's already tapping. Like, he should really have that locked in.
Like, you see like it's blurry because he was already tapping.
Yeah, he should have really wrenched that back, wrenched the neck back to be like, to show like he's, oh my God, is he going to snap this dude's neck? Is he going to break his jaw? Like, what's going on here? But, I like the smile and I like how this guy is going to clearly be a heel on a roster that I think needs some high quality heels.
And, this guy can go, like, we will see somebody that changed his name later on in the show, but, like, that could be, guy same size.
Or, even like A-Kid. It'd be a perfect guy, yeah.
A-Kid, yep. And, let's go now to the women's side a little bit. Just, now we're not going to elaborate a lot on this, We're still Zaya Brooks and Nina Samuels. Like, it's still, like, just being her maid,
pretty much the ending of this thing, which I was like, what the hell is she going to kill Zaya Brookside? She's, like, doing her dishes. She looks at the dishwasher and she sees, like, a big knife. And then she kind of like looks at it, and I'm like, "What? Like, what's going on here?"
Yeah, like, if you see Murder, like we had the exclusive, like we actually saw it first than anybody else. But like you said, it's like it is a story that it needs to just end. Present this to women a little more serious, especially Zaya Brookside. You have a great baby face, if not Valkyrie. Maybe Zaya Brookside. I know that like maybe the size is not there, but the ability is there. Maybe the intensity, in a serious feud, it will be a lot more better. But I don't know. Like for me, Samuels like needs to go back to the regular heel. But like, hey, she lost the match. She has to pay the dues. So like that's fine. So now let's go, Paul. Like with this, like you remember like Eddie Dennis and like Bohr. Like he actually left the team. It was Primate or Bohr.
Oh, in this video package or in this promo, whatever.
Remember like go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say it was Bohr who was in this one, but Primate I think is already he's either hurt or whatever happened to him.
Yeah,
but this was Bohr in this with Eddie Dennis, and but he was pretty much just Eddie Dennis talking the way he does, but pretty much just cut ties with him.
Yeah.
And he like left them there behind this, fence, pretty much like, oh, I don't need you anymore. Like, you're kind of bullshit. Like, you guys couldn't win the gold, so now I got to find people who can, kind of deal. So you see Thor is screaming and everything.
Like said, because of you that you couldn't come. Remember, you couldn't help us out in the street fight. I got to fight the street fight, and I got to receive all this stuff. So you said he cut ties with him. He got like completely like secluded, singled out, and we see this face though. We want to see who, like, we will have information on who this guy is, and we see like maybe a reformation of the Hunt, or like they're gonna add somebody and they're gonna cut ties, like you said, with like War. So we'll see. But like Eddie Dennis is still pissed off about that match that they lost a few weeks ago with like Flash Morgan Webster and also with Mark Andrews. So like we been saying, Paul, that like every week, NXT gave us like a girl. They're showcasing their women's division, and we got to see Dani Luna, we got to see Aaliyah James, now we got to see Amel. That's the first French wrestler signed by the WWE. Really good promo, not much on like action and everything because she hasn't really won any matches, but just showcasing their ability and saying, hey, I'm very special for NXT. So I kind of like this. At least you can see that like every woman is treated fair and like with respect, rather than we get to see them and then we don't see them ever again. At least this video package like showcases every single one of the women.
Oh, yeah, this is good for her, like Amel, the French Hope, they called her and stuff. Like, yeah, build up the low card, the bottom of the card, the mid card for your women's division, and just kind of get everyone established. And, I think she's like, new here, so you got to give her some time. She won't be pushed to the main event right away, but I think they have a lot of stock and they have a lot of faith in her. So this is good, introduce her, get her familiarized with the audience, or get the audience familiarized with her, rather. So, I like this.
Oh yeah, fine, and we get to see with the promos right here because we give you the whole show, full show review. We got to see the boys that lost the tag team titles, Gallus, and they're playing like just pool. Again, you see Coffee also coming like, hey mates, it's a little bullshit, it's done, but at the same time, hey, we gotta go back to being Gallus, and it's not about championships, it's not about just having gold. It's just we kick ass, we're dominant here in NXT UK. So he's talking to Wolfgang and also with Mark Coffey, and he's like, okay, legit. So you see, like, they're all like together in this. So maybe we'll see Gallus going back to like, for Coffey going against Walter or going for a title contention, and same thing for Gallus. They won the tag team titles back. So that's a good, at least they give you like a recap or like what's going on with these guys because at least we hear from them, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, we always say, like, when somebody loses a title or a team loses titles, it's like, what's the plan for them after that? Are they just going to fade into catering and, but not be seen for a couple weeks? Or are they going to be at the bar going, so we lost, but we're not losers forever. We're going to get our titles back because Gallus Boy's on top. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you going to, approach it. Because this whole roster, even though you don't see the guys sometimes for 3-4 weeks, they treat everyone on the roster with some form of legitimacy.
With a lot of respect. I agree with you. So, like, let's move on to the next match. And that was finally, like we said, Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster going against Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan. Did you like this? This actually, for me, came out a little too long also. Like, a lot of near falls, like domination from both sides. And, I was really hoping that Andrews and Morgan Webster were going to win. But it seems like they're trying to tell us a story with Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I feel like Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan are going to get all the way. They're going to get their title opportunity against Pretty Deadly or Pretty Lethal, as we like to call them here on the channel. No, they're going to get their title opportunity, and I think that's where the split's going to happen. I thought it was going to happen before they even got into title contention. I thought it would be they'd lose their first match as a tag team, boom, split up right away. No, I think they're going to milk this a little longer. And, I mean, this match was really good. Flash Morgan Webster, Mark Andrews, to me, they're such a legit team. I know you love them too, so it's these guys are great. But I like this. It was a very even matchup. You'd almost say probably that Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews were going to win this thing, but at the end of it, they just Kenny Williams he just like backs the ref into the corner. The ref is like, I can't see, like you have in the picture right there. He lifts the leg up, behind him, and he kicks Morgan Webster. It was Morgan Webster, correct? Yeah, it was Morgan Webster. Yeah, he kind of, he kicks him. Yeah, he kicks him in the, I was going to try to make some Beatles reference to his balls, but I can't think any, so he kicks him in the balls.
Yeah, well, it's just in the jewels,
he kicks him there, and then, he's done. And even Kenny Williams is like, Amir Jordan is like, he's like, I thought we said we weren't going to do this. We were going to win legit. Like, what are you doing? So you see a little bit of dissension there, but he obviously let his partner still get the pinfall, so he mustn't be too upset. and, you know, they get a win over former NXT tag champs, which, you know, in a division that's not super deep with tag teams, this is a big win for them. So, you know, moving forward, like I said, maybe get one more win. Then I could see them going against Pretty Deadly, and I think they'll lose. That'll be a good title defense for Pretty Deadly, and then that will be where this team splits. But I didn't mind this going a little long because I don't think with the main event match that we got, I thought that was a good length for it. I don't think that could have been any longer.
Yeah,
I think so. This had to be the match, and then the opening match that took up the most time.
That took more of the chunk of the show. You're right. So like that's what we got. So you know, get ready to see Kenny Williams and also Amir joining in title contention pretty soon. We're gonna hear next week about this guy that has been having like the triggers. You know, he's been getting in those trances, and you know, he just goes from like from Juan to Jean Paul in like a second. So like he goes from like being low, like nice and all of that, to like really violent and just kicking ass. So we're going to hear from Ilya Dragunov finally telling us what's going on. So pretty interesting, like you said. Hopefully he turns heel. Hopefully he's just not a face. So hopefully this doesn't deviate in another match with Walter right away, just because I want Dragunov to, like you said, turn heel. Maybe have different feuds and then go back to babyface and face Walter one more time. Because I just don't want to like see him like right away going to against Walter.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, maybe the story isn't for him to beat Walter. Maybe, like you said, he'll turn heel. They'll do something with that. Maybe Rampage Brown will beat Walter, and Rampage Brown will be the babyface champ, and then Dragunov as the heel champ will beat Rampage Brown. You know, I don't really know what the story's going to go, but I feel they know Ilya's worth. They know how popular he is with the fans, so I think they have something in mind for him. They're not just going, so we're just going to do this story. We don't really know, but we're just going to drag. It's not like Smackdown and Raw where they're writing it, 5 minutes before the show.
Yes,
I think they have a plan in mind for him. So I'm looking forward to see, what their plan is and where they're going to take it next week.
Absolutely. So, Paul, you're going to see you and myself right there. See? Like we're gonna see Trent Seven, like they still documenting his journey, like I'm right there with you, like on all this, like you want to be cruiserweight champion, so I'm like, okay, you're gonna be cruiserweight champion, mate. So you see like the whole journey with Tyler Bate, showcasing their friendship, like Mustache Mountain, all of that. So they revealed that in the bump. Next week they're gonna do like the weigh-in, and then maybe Jordan Devlin. But how is this gonna affect the match with Santos Escobar though? So like you said, it's gonna be very interesting how they like turn it around. How like they play every single factor, because like you said, if Trent Seven gets the championship, is it Santos Escobar going against Trent Seven, or what's going to happen here?
Yeah, and maybe we see Trent Seven show up at the match between the two of them. Maybe he causes some kind of interference. Who knows? Maybe like this will take place. Who knows? Maybe they'll save this for when did they actually say when this match is supposed to take place or no?
No. So it's only the way.
I was going to say, like, it might be taking place over at the first night of the takeover. Maybe Trent Seven shows up, causes some kind of bullshit. Then maybe the second night they book it, a triple threat. Because I really don't think you can have 2 nights worth of matches. So I could see that, it's the first night. Then, just kidding, it's the second night. So we'll see. Or
for example, let's say whoever wins from this in night 1, the winner will go against Santos Escobar night 2. Like something like that you could do, and it will be good. But I hope it is Jordan Devlin and Santos Escobar. But like to see the journey from Trent Seven is kind of like, so why did they book this knowing that they're not going to win? So I don't know. I'm still a little torn in when it comes to happen. But really cool to see Trent Seven doing all of this. Just to like, this has to at least end for me in a championship. I don't care if Santos Escobar loses it. Trent Seven has been doing a really great job. So we gotta support that. And, let's talk about this guy, like you said, Theo Man, or like also A-Kid, let's talk about Ben Carter. Ben Carter said that, like, he's here on NXT UK, he's been playing soccer, so I kind of clap for that, that made me pop a little bit. And he says that, like, he's really happy to be here, but, like, he wants more matches, he wants more feuds, he wants to show that he's, like, one of the greatest wrestlers in the world right now, and that actually signifies that he has to change his name. And he's going to go as Nathan Frazier right now. I'm like, I don't know what to feel about this, because I don't know what, like, just changing your name makes you more legit. So I'm going to change my name to Goku, and I can just turn into Super Saiyan and do all of that. So let's hear from Paul.
Yeah, I don't understand the name change. I mean, Ben Carter, I think we all got used to that. Maybe he thought it, I don't know. I was going to say, I don't know. Maybe Shaw Samuels changed his name, and maybe they was like, hey, I want to join that club. Or who knows, maybe this is a WWE thing. Maybe they, Ben Carter was his name on the Indies, and it just takes the guys in the UK a little while to change their names. I don't know I really don't know what the reason behind the name changes. Maybe we'll see something in the news. It'll be, the dirt sheets will be, oh, this is the reason why. This is, whatever. But, I mean, hey, I just remembered, okay, this guy's Ben Carter, because we have to, there's so many names in wrestling, so many different wrestlers. I just remembered this guy's Ben Carter a couple weeks ago. Now I got to do Nathan Frazier. So I'll just think of the show Frazier, the sitcom Frazier, and I'll be like, Frazier, okay, legit.
So we'll see. We'll remember that from that show. So we're gonna hear next week from Walter. Finally, he's gonna make a statement. So really intriguing. It's going to be really cool to see what he's going to do. Is he's going to show up in regular NXT supporting his boys? Seems like they're trying to recruit, Timothy Thatcher, Tommaso Ciampa. What's going on with Walter? Where is he going to go? Is he going to defend the championship here? He's going to defend the championship on NXT on, TakeOver on night 2, night 1. A lot of things can happen. So really interesting to see finally the champion after 4 weeks or so that since he had the match with A-Kid. So, I understand why he's not there every single show, but, every other show or every 2 shows, it will be a lot better. Because I forget that he,
That's the one thing. Because some weeks we see guys 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row, and then we might not see him for a week or 2, but it's Walter's he's I was going to say an eclipse. You see him once every couple months. It's who's the champ?
Amber Moon, yeah.
Yeah, where is he? Yeah, I would say every other week, at least. He's your champion. Every other week, maximum 2 weeks off. Maybe after a hard-fought championship match, give him 2 weeks off, then bring him back. But, yeah. I mean, I'm glad to see him, and I hope it's, calls out Rampage Brown. So Rampage Brown thinks he's legit, blah, 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 and then set up the match. Because that's what I want to see.
Like you said, maybe in 2 weeks or something, or maybe let's do it on TakeOver. No, let's load out that card, like you said. You don't have enough, maybe people, not enough championships. Let's do it on TakeOver. Every single championship will be defended. Throw something for the fans. Talking about the fans, the first intergender mixed tag match, this was, pretty just average. We got to say it how it is. We don't like to sell smoke here. We're not the Street Profits. We don't do that. So it was just average just because, the story's right there, but the performances right there, they were not actually great. It was just all right, and we know Jack Starz is a good wrestler. Connors is average. Jeannie, a good heel, avoiding Piper Niven at all times. Piper Niven chasing, I feel that this is probably the weakest main event that they gave us since the return.
Yeah, I agree. This is, Ginny, she didn't want nothing to do with Piper Niven, and the pretty much the bulk of the match, and it was about 11 minutes, 12 minute main event, so you saw it's okay, barely any time for the main event, so you knew it wasn't going to be anything too special, no offense to everyone, to everyone involved, but it was pretty much just isolate Jack Starz. Let's beat him up. Ginny was even getting involved. Piper tried to, stop at everything, try to get the tag. Because obviously, when the man tags out, both, the women have to come in. You can't be beating up, the opposite gender. Unless you're Piper Niven. When she finally got the hot tag in, hits the big, Piper driver onto Joseph Connors, takes him out. Jack Starz comes in and gets the pin. And, so Piper was the one. She looked strong and everything. And Jack Starz and her get the win. So, Juan wishes that was him, which,
I do.
Yeah, I do. That's legit.
That would have been me, holding her
yeah,
her
hand. I agree. And it's but what does this do? Is this going to be a feud? Are we going to see Joseph Connors versus Jack Starz singles? Is it over? Is it done? Or is the main feud just going to be Piper Niven versus Connors and Ginny, and Jack Starz is just forgotten? I don't understand what this is. I would honestly have, no offense to this match. I know it was supposed to be history, but it's does anybody really care about the first intergender tag match? No, I don't think really anybody does. Like you said, we don't sell smoke here. So no, I don't think anybody cares. This probably should have been the opening match or maybe in the middle of the show and then put the Heritage Cup match here. Or put, something here. None of the matches on this show, to be honest, were really that, wow, exciting. None of them really felt main event. But especially this one, I don't think I would have put in the main event. I know why they did it, because of the history.
The whole ending, you said tied, the Piper, the driven, the Piper Niven's, driver, all of that. And especially this, because when she had, Starz, she almost, drops him. And that was, a really bad splash. And, of course, Connors had to sell it and all of that. But like you said, I just want to see where this ends up being. Maybe Meiko Satomura against Piper Niven, something that is going to at least have some implications into this. Or they just gave us this to just throw a bone at Piper Niven in a feel-good moment for them. So that was pretty much what we have, Paul. That was our show for NXT UK family. Thank you so very much. The only thing that we ask from you guys is just help us out with a subscription. Throw a subscription right there. Give us the video like. And also, hey, Comment. Let us know what you guys feel about NXT UK. Was it a good show? Was it not a good show? We want to see Walter. All of that. Let us know right there in the comment section. And like I said, just give us a subscription. And where else can they find us in the social media world?
And then make sure you follow us on Facebook under Rope Break, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, the original Rope Break on Instagram, and of course right here on YouTube, the fastest growing brand and the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the original Rope Break.
So family, next time we see each other will be for Smackdown. That will be live. Don't forget, like after the show's over, 20 minutes, we'll be right there talking about every single thing. More build-up for Fastlane and also Sacrifice on Saturday. Jean-Paul and myself. Title versus title, Rick Swann against Moose. We'll see what happens over there. A lot of implications with what is going to be Rebellion, so be with us for that. So, family, you and me have one more thing that is left to say, and we'll see each other soon. And this...